Okay. Hey, everyone. Happy, what day is it even? 9th of June? Like, how is that even possible? Oh my goodness, that seems weird to say. 9th of June, we're coming in today. My name is Courtney. So, however you have landed on this call or this recording, welcome. I'm excited that you're here. Yeah, you're having a meeting. You can talk. Ella's joining me here till Dad gets home. And yeah, I thought it'd be fun to jump in today and talk a little bit about Tower and reflect on some of our experiences, what they've done for us over the last little bit here, and really just reflect on how we can get the most out of our towers. And so okay, sorry, 1 second here. Okay, no, thank you. Okay, so the first question I thought of for the night was, why do we even grow? And I really wanted to, I'll share why I do after, but I have my cousin Justine here too, who is a new grower, just started her seeds. And so I wanted to just ask her kind of what led her into saying yes to growing, and what it means to you to grow your own food.
You bet. So, going back with growing my own food has been like grassroots, and I've always enjoyed that coming from a farm. But the innovation of the tower was really neat. But my main why for growing with the tower garden is that my food, I am the only one handling it from seeds to harvesting and when I'm going to eat it. And then, of course, I can see and look foresighted for the cost benefits and how I can save money by growing my own food and not having to go to the grocery store. So those are my two biggest whys for why I want to use the tower garden.
Cool, thank you. And I know you just started planting your seeds, and so it's been cool to watch the different seeds take form. And so I know you used to garden growing up, and have you been gardening since then, or has it been something that was kind of like on the back burner for now because you were busy, or how was growing before you got your tower?
So I had and still have the garden, and we're doing that outside. This is actually going to change for the vegetable variety. Because of the tower inside, we changed the vegetables outside to be more of the ones that grow in the ground. So the potatoes and some of the vegetables that take more space, like some of the squashes, and we have time for. So that is how we still have it now currently. But I have had the garden for the past 5 years. And throughout those 5 years, we've just been learning like how to prep the soil. And of course, the biggest thing is it's a lot of work. I enjoy it, so I don't ever put it on the back burner, and it's always a priority. But if I didn't like pulling the weeds and spending the time playing in the dirt in itself, I know I wouldn't do it. So that's why I also really like the idea of the tower garden, because it is just so simple and takes a lot of that literally back-breaking work out of it.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, just with our weather. It's so unpredictable, and so we had to say goodbye to so many plants when the winds came through. And it wasn't really until that happened that I reflected on past years when we didn't have our tower, like how devastated we were, and how that could have been like the make or break for our entire growing year. And so it's fun just to have the tower inside. I live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, so we only have the tower inside. We don't bring it outside because our season is shorter. I know there's lots of people here that do, but we have access to a large yard with an outdoor garden that I too still enjoy being in the dirt. And so I know, honey, 1 second. And so it's been really nice just to have that as like a second option in the growing season. It's like, okay, what is going on here? Like, at least we still have greens, but it's been really nice for that reason. And another reason that not right now. Another reason that I find the grow tower really great is for the less water usage. We expanded our garden this year, and it is crazy how much more water we needed until this last weekend when we finally got rain. It was insane how much more water we were giving to our yard, which, you know, like that means more money coming out of our pockets. And so it wasn't until like the times have been tight where we were like, oh my gosh, we didn't notice that with our tower at all, because you're not using any more water. So not only is it more environmentally friendly, it was like, wow, we're even saving money this way. And so it was another one of those things where I'm like, okay, I wasn't even accounting for that when I was figuring out how much you would save a month with the Grow Tower. I didn't account for the power that, like, the amount of energy we save on. So for me during COVID, that has been like a really big eye opener, was like, wow, this really is saving us. This really is saving us in the long run. And then I wanted to ask you is, what's your favorite thing to grow right now?
It's the peas, for watching them, because they grow just as fast as the beans, and they're also my favorite thing to harvest. So I'm really excited for them.
Yeah, cool. When I was thinking about that today, I'm like, okay, I just love herbs. I use them in everything. But what I didn't realize with the tower that I was growing was our family and my relationship. And it wasn't until last week, I don't know, it was like a full moon and emotions were running serious in our house. And Parker and I got into a disagreement, and whereas before we probably would have both went our separate ways and kind of given ourselves space, we both landed in the garden. And like our problem was worked through while we were working with our hands in the garden, and then coming inside and then like harvesting off the tower and then making supper together. It was really like, wow, this tower and like growing your own food really can, you know, it's something you can, like, it's a distraction, and it's really good for your mental health to be working with your hands and, you know, having some just distraction and something that you continually see progress on. I know for Ella it has been really cool. It grabs their attention. Like every day things are changing, you know, like going outside and seeing what's popping up or looking on the tower and seeing what's new. I find that gardening really has been like a huge savior for our mental health during this time. It's been just something for us to put our attention into. It's been something for us to learn more about, and reflecting on the time that we've been living in. It is one of those things where it's like, okay, it could have been a really sad time bottled up inside. And I was so grateful that this was, you know, we just spent extra time with the tower. We spent extra time learning about it. And now that investment that we put into our family, now I'm so excited because I get to share that. Like we can honestly say what we were doing, and now we have a little bit more of a rhythm that we can now share. So I'm like, that's so cool that just by taking that time and investing into what was our family now gets to help other families. And so I think that's where my inspiration for the tower talks like tonight come from. It's just really us getting together, talking about something that we're all passionate about, or we wouldn't have been on this call, or you wouldn't have asked to get the recording. You're passionate about sustainable living. You're passionate about growing your own food, about maybe saving money. And I just find that tower happens to be that solution for us in our home. And I know, Justine, you had just started growing it, but you are like the numbers girl. And so when your mind started thinking about the numbers, I would love to hear your side of it on that, because I'm more just like, I get excited about the food, but I know you were like, actually you understood the savings aspect of it for sure.
Oh, you bet. Well, like even just for example, I'll take today, I went to the grocery store and grabbed a bunch of cilantro and a bunch of spinach. Both of these bundles of herbs were both far more than I actually needed. And of course, I paid $5 in total for both of those bunches, and I'm probably going to use maybe $1 worth. So when I am growing, and spinach and cilantro are in my seeds and they're going to be sprouting and growing soon, I look so forward to being able to put that $5 back in my pocket for 2 dishes that I'm looking to make. Of course, with this, like managing the food waste, I look to freeze it, but there again, I'm like not producing, but just like restoring my food, also taking out the value in the food nutrition because I'm freezing it, non-thawing it, and just working with it a lot. So again, I just able to trim a couple leaves that I need, make my recipe, and not have to worry about wasting the rest because they're not cut from the plant.
I love that. We finally, now that our tower is like producing big leaves and we're like fully eating off of it, we had to throw out a container of greens that we like forgot about in the fridge because we all of a sudden were just like full on eating off of our tower. And then we planted all these greens outside too. So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that was at least $5 for this like little bundle of organic greens that was like cut and shipped from who knows where. And I was like, man, that's so crazy to think about, like money down the drain. And another talk that I want to do is just on regrowth gardens because there is so much. And like Ella has actually been inspiring this in our family because she like tends to like rip heads off of plants and like all these things where we could have been like really upset about, but instead we're like, hey, like let's actually like learn about how this could like regenerate. And like plants are so regenerative. It's just one of those reminders, like if we're eating plants and they're that regenerative, we are then regenerating, like we're doing good things for our bodies. And so I think like what better way than with fresh ingredients right off the tower. And I know for us where we don't have access to like a garden every year, no matter what, we're not getting fresh produce. Like even if we're going and getting organic, we don't have local food that's supplying us all year round all the time. I'm hoping that changes, but like you taste the difference. I'm so excited for you to taste the difference of a tower. Like you taste the nutrients, like you taste what a plant is actually supposed like. And so like you were saying, like the nutrition is already dying as it's like sitting on the shelves in the store. And so unfortunately, like we're spending money on food that's not really all that nourishing to us, but by growing our own food, we're really allowing ourselves to get the nutrition that we need. That is how our bodies function. So I love that it's doing that for us as well. And I know, I guess you can describe like the town that you're living in, but do you find like fresh food readily available? Because you do have a lot of farms around you, but being a smaller town, do you notice a difference in like supply and demand right now during COVID with like shipping or shelving or anything like that?
Of course, I can answer to that. So with how, again, going back to how I grew up, also being around farmers markets, there used to be tables and tables of that fresh produce. And unfortunately, because those people just aren't doing that work anymore, it's a lot more sporadic. So honestly, if I'm not waking up at 8 a.m. right away at the farmers market, I'm not getting access to that produce. And then of course there is, I believe, 1 or 2 greenhouses that have those greens can grow around town, but they are extremely backed up right now because everyone's asking for their deliveries, just as slammed as the stores are. And again, supplies are okay, but every once in a while you just go to grab something that you expect to be there and it's not. So that's just, again, like small adjustments in meals. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but if that, of course, were to add up or to become more prominent, it could definitely become more of an issue that I don't want to have to work with, or I'm not even prepared to deal with.
Yeah. And for me, I don't like follow the news or anything all that much, but I talked to my mom who lives in Vancouver and we were just talking about food cost. And I mean, they've already noticed a change now with COVID happening, that the price of food is going to change. And so I think that's also cool to think about, is that like food cost is something I see. Good job. That we're always like, we always are going to need food to run our bodies. That is life. Like we're going to need nutrition. And so we're going to have to go out and get it somehow. And if that is a cost that we're never going to really know what that is, like that's a changing factor all the time. I think it's another reminder that I'm happy that I'm learning this now, where we can still run out and get things for like a reasonable price if we needed to. But like what happens if food cost just goes up a lot and like supplies are more, so then people like farmers have to then charge more because supplies are harder to get? Then what does that mean for us? Like again, it's like this unknown cost. So I love that by you were saying like you can control who's touching your food, but you can also have control over your budget in some sense. Like you can go and get your seeds and you kind of know what you're working with there. And so I like that factor too for the times that we're living in right now, just for like another added assurance that like, okay, this is my budget for a tower this month and you're paying it off a month, like every month. And then that's your food cost because you're then not having to spend as much on food. And then after that, you're just like growing for free. And so I always call it the money tree because I'm like, when I'm going there, it's like I'm saving money. It's like I'm putting money in my pocket. I'm investing in myself. I am investing like back into my pockets and hoping that like my big dream is that we can actually give food to people as well with our towers and like really supply people with premium nutrition for like a really good amount of money because the cost to grow it is so much less and it is so much more sustainable. And then, yeah, I guess my final questions for you are, what are you most excited about in the future with your Grow Tower?
To be totally honest, to grow a watermelon or some type of melon where you can have 200 days and that thing is like in pristine condition. It's got all the light and water like I will grow my own watermelon. And that is what I'm genuinely most excited to do.
I love that so much. Awesome. Well, I know, is there anybody else that's on right now that wants to share? I know Justine's been loving and answering all my questions, but if there's anybody else that wants to share on any of this, I know it's bedtime for some. I would love to hear from anybody that wants to say something. I'll just go ahead and unmute everyone. Or there we go. Or maybe not. Some people may have muted themselves, which is fine. Awesome. Cool. Well, is there anything else that you want to add or that you want to ask me?
No, not Tower Garden related.
Cool. Yeah, the other thing I was going to say before we say bye is actually I'll go into the tower room with Ella so everyone can see a tower.
Cool.
There might be some people that haven't. I know some people have towers that are on these calls, and then some of them are going to be people that are just interested in learning a bit more. So we'll pop in here. And Ella, come. Okay, come here. It's running right now. The lights aren't on, but I was just going to show everyone our tower. They're right there, sweetie, on the table. And Ella's going to show everyone how she harvests. Hey, they're right there, honey. Look on the table. Do you see them? Awesome. Okay, so here's our tower. And Ella's gonna stand up on her stool and she'll harvest some of the greens. So what I love about the tower is, like I said, how it's growing our family, that this is Ella's norm. Every day she can come in here and she, thanks, hon, picks her lettuces and puts them on the table. Like, to me, that's like future right there. Like, that is so cool. I love that I grew up on a farm with, you know, gardens and stuff available, but that's not as prominent anymore. So it's really cool that we have. Thank you. What's this called? What color is it? Green. For you. For me. Thank you. So I guess that's really what inspires me at the end of the day to keep growing, is that this is her norm. Like, this is. Okay. You have to cut it. Thanks, hon. You want the other half? And so we wanted to say thank you. Can you say thank you? Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and learn a little bit more about the towers or listening to our talks. If there's anything specific that you would like to know or any questions that you have, reach out to whoever sent you this and we'd be happy to get the answer to you. And if you have any specific calls or topics that you want to talk about with the tower, let us know so that we can get you those resources and get you some more information. And so thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a great evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing that tower to us. That looks great.
Of course. Anytime. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.